Oh, baby. I've been excited for this for a while and have been somewhat, not undermined. Jay didn't like Citizen Sleeper as much as Citizen Sleeper deserves to be liked. And that's nobody's fault, least of all mine. And right now, Jade is indisposed, so I get to do the thing of solo streaming, and I'm gonna use my solo stream time to play a game that she doesn't want to play, but that I really do, because I have got cool, smart game opinions. The intended difficulty, yes. Broken dice. I don't think that's standard stress on. Death incurs a significant permanent penalty. Death is permanent. We're gonna standard this up. Whoa, okay. Push the name of the class? No. Push is not the name of the class. Okay. Push is this attack? Your sister re-roll your action dice. +1 stress, re-roll lowest dice. +2 to lowest. I see, so I can, this is like a Blades in the Dark. Push yourself. Okay. Alright, let's go through this. I think last time I was a machinist. User sleepers built to repair and modify automated systems used in corporate resource extraction. Machinists are very skilled engineers, but their isolated work means they often struggle with tasks requiring a direct approach or social engagement. Their focus skill allows them to focus on a single task and boost their dice to excel in it. Sleepers assigned machinists are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. To focus an action die, +1 stress and +2. Use +2 and focus lowest dice. -1 stress on focus die, positive outcome. I see. Like engage is trash. What are these? I mean, I know that these mean like these like passives. Suppose it's okay if they're not. Hang on, we gotta get this controller unplugged. That's gonna be confusing. The operator is built to work with drones and remote machines over local networks to perform corporate extraction from a distance. Operators have expertise in working with interfaces and computer systems, but are more physically fragile than other sleepers. Their reboot skill allows them to hack their own systems to re-roll dice, a risky but potentially powerful move. Sleepers are assigned to operator are usually cerebral and precise people. Extractor sleepers are built to work at the coalface of corporate resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Extractors have high levels of physical endurance, but their confidence means they struggle with tasks requiring intuition. Their rally skill allows them to motivate those on their team, boosting their crew dice. Sleepers assigned to extractor are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. I still like the idea of a machinist. If I were going to come to, back for a second go around this planet, and I were going to be in this corporate hell future, I think this is what I would go for. I like picking apart how things work, like in a physical sense. I actually like it from a programming sense too. I like the idea of how things work. In working on the Party House mod, I've been enjoying the task of going through and trying to figure out what the code means. Even in cases where I don't have it. But I like the idea of being able to put that skill in making something in the world. And if I could make tiny robots and stuff, not just use them, but figure out what's in this thing. I don't know. That's always stuck out to me as I'm being romantic about it. And I realize that. Hang on, now that we're in game, can I? You can't from the main menu do this, so I'm gonna. All right. Make sure that actually took. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually, these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially, like a boot process of an old terminal. First, your body, artificial, compromised, but relaying sense data all the same. Then its context, the breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your birth in zero-G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles, fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space. I have a slightly oversized window, don't I? What's that? That does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscured and scattered. Among all that disarray, the only one familiar thing arrives, the fear. It is the scrambled, panicked fear, the drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong. Something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper, a voice whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head, pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. This something is very wrong with you sticks out to me, not for any particularly sinister reason, but like as a certified ad skipper on YouTube, there was like a 5-second ad, and we're watching like something, and we're already primed to click skip, and as we do, the ad just declares something is wrong with you, and then we were already hitting skip and past it. And it was like, I'm not saying we should go back and watch that ad, but I am saying, what if something's wrong with us, though? Sleeper, a familiar name, a mind copied, emulated, a body built, implanted, one person sleeping until their debt is worked away, their double being made to work, to be consumed, to eventually be destroyed, a proxy, an emulation, a sleeper. That is what you are. Hello, toucans, and same. But you escaped. You remember that now. Broke free of your corporate creators, S and ARP, in search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since. All of a sudden, you remember that you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Hello, Lane. You look a lot like this jackass I knew at one point. Well, that's cruel and on your tail. Pale eyes and a pale face, Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear, one you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt, Shark smirk, but this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away, to the corners of your vision, to find something you understand. Your body does not respond. But I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough? The vial glitters. The object you know and have known for a long time. Stabilizer. The drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitable decay. The only balm for your planned obsolescence. The liquid roiling in the vials fills you with disgust. Lane pockets the vials. But it would be wasted on you now. After what you've done to this body of yours, he looks at you with palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your... He's a sexy anime boy, but he's sort of like this guy who I think also had an L who was a jackass. It's kind of funny. It's like, oh, are you the non-fuck-up version of what was his name? Or was it with an E? Was it like Evan? It was something like plain Janey feeling like Evan in the last one. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those are meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer and the control it grants Lane's. Ooh. A way to not be? They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It's a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try to understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up, Lane barks the command, and you hear the sounds of impact, of pain from elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time feel a flicker. The twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of a synthetic muscle. Free, are you? Lane smirks. You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed. He scans your body with angry eyes. Now you aren't free. You're just broken. I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move, but you've ruined all that. Lane speaks louder over the sound of the struggle behind him. I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it. But your emulation? You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips at a thick cable running into the port at the base of your skull. I will burn that out. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body, then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you looping and wrapping around your limbs. Huh? Our mysterious savior. Then you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. Hey, he waves his hand in your dazed face. We need to move. Lane won't be out long. He unloops a cable from around your wrist. Sleeper, help me out here. You blink slowly. Do you know this person? He leans over and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on. He tucks the connector clear and pulls you up. You see the room you're in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out on an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner, you see a dark shape of a floating body surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You are wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you, and then you are out in the brightness. All that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. Come to a stop in a dark alley. The one who guided you here is pausing to catch his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit and sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember this station runs hot. Something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. What's going on, sleeper? He wipes sweat from his forehead and floats away. Talk to me. Okay, even if somebody knew who I was and I lost memory, I think I would, if I were that person, try and like delay that one, right? And I would say, where are we? Somewhere on the starboard side, not too far from the docks, I hope. You see a concerned frown across his face. That's not what you meant, is it? He comes closer, eyeing you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes, waits for the answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city, growing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells. Shadowed by them, you open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out loud, you didn't know it was there. He sighs. And me? Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard at his face, the slight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple. The reboot. Speaking quietly to himself, Lane interrupted the process and he lifts his head and stares at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. Come on, the rig can't be far. As you are led through the passages and stairways of the station, you try to recall your life here. The texture, the temperature of Darkside feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle, the rhythms of the station flowing over you with the crowds. You recall desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer, promise of supplying more for your work. A deal he locked you into like a cage. The more there your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment, the residue of fear remains. You were Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Wait, your guide holds up a hand, and you stop your glide using the wall. Ahead, you see the tunnels open into a wide open bay with a few doors leading back to cylindrical tunnels, the docks. They're watching the rig. He nods towards the docks, and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it, one covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Utsubo, Lane's guys. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this, it's not coming back to you, is it? Something catches your eye, and you see he's playing with a coin, nervously turning it over and over in his fingers. He sees you looking at it and slips away. Places a hand on his chest. I'm Seraphin, alright? He looks pained when he speaks. Lane, he was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape. Troubled, stubborn, and on the run. We need to reboot you to break your dependence on stabilizer. You know what that is, right? You nod meekly. Lane interrupted me back there, and the reboot didn't complete, and he sighs and shakes his head. We can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that? He searches your face for a sign of recognition. I've got it. Get that door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do this. Seraphin kicks off hard and glides at the docks. Over here, shitheads, he bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off from the wall, giving chase. During scenes, you may encounter skill checks, where you can perform certain actions using your skills. Like dice actions you will encounter later, skill checks can have positive, neutral, and negative outcomes. The better the rating of your skill, the more likely you will succeed on a check. The odds of success are displayed when you select the check. You can see more in the guide. You wait a breath and then glide across the door they were guarding. You look, already panicked, at the tightly sealed door. Its control panel locked out. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. I'm an engineer, right? Yeah. Neutral outcome. Check past. You shift to the central access panel and wrench it open. You scan over the mechanism looking for a weakness. Somewhere nearby, you hear more shouting. You reach in and grab the main latch, straining as you bend it outwards. The seal releases, and you drag the door halfway open. It screeches in its metal frame as you pull. Go, go! Seraphin flies past you, through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see the two guards approaching fast across the docks and quickly glide after Seraphin. Seraphin is already at the rig's door, inputting an entry code. The rig's door scissors open, and you both rush inside. Quickly! Seraphin grabs you by the arm and drags you up to the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you into a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tapping a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself. Come on. The rig's drive rumbles to life, and Seraphin slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. Oh, it's my mouse that's making the ship in the background wiggle. I see. Peace. As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, its automatic systems nudge there by the port's docking controls. You feel a sense of relief. Seraphin burned it hard out of Darkside, and you dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphin breaks the silence. We're good, Sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. Problem is, you don't remember any of them. We made it, he whispers, closing his eyes and letting out a sigh. You certainly did. He turns and you see a pained look on his face, as if remembering something difficult. Have you said this exact thing to him before, in this situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lip, searching your face. Not really, he puffs. Seraphin reaches up, flickering through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize, is just another thing you've forgotten. Clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphin kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on either side of the door and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit in cold cyan. We need a plan, he glances around. And he's not going to let us slip away quietly, he sighs. We keep running. Seraphin nods. That's what it feels like, right? We can never get far enough away from that shithead? You see a shiver run through him and know that he suffered as much as you did under Lane. Bought ourselves some time. He glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do, and there are plenty of opportunities here for us, if we can keep our heads down. He turns back to the corridor. That's what we'll do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along, hand over hand in zero-G. We already emptied the tank on this thing. He slaps a hand against the ship's insides. So we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm gonna get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old connections. People that might throw us an easy contract. You, he glances back over his shoulder, you keep out of trouble. Low profile, got it. Seraphin stops the airlock. Stopping the reboot halfway through, he pulls a worn crew jacket out from the locker and starts pulling on. You don't know what that did to you. Jams an arm into his sleeve. I don't want you passing out and stops. It'll take both of us. Seraphin sighs. I hate it when you're right. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. Just pull the damned hood up, will you? You take it and slip it on. Thank you. Seraphin nods. He stabs at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open. Seraphin glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for two people traveling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket, a limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He surveys your disguise again and shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. Gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat. Suddenly, you recognize Seraphin's instinct to look after you. Flash of relationship now lost to the reboot. Catch. Seraphin throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand, you see a stack of cryo chits. Now this should get you some food. We'll need some more for fuel and supplies. He grimaces. That means odd jobs on the station for both of us. Seraphin kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, all right? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow. With that, he's gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into Hexport's docking course. You wait for a moment in the silence. Think about Seraphin. It's hard to know what's going on inside Seraphin's head. Here he is on some hapless escape plan with a friend who can't remember a thing about him. You try to imagine how close you must have been for him to agree to this thing, but it's painful to think about that now. That's all gone now anyway. All you can do is move on. You shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. Take off and glide into port. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2, Starward Vector. This game runs in cycles, during which you can perform actions with your dice. Use cryo to buy food, fuel, supplies, and items. Progress clocks towards new scenes and events. You can review the tutorials, yada yada yada. Got it. I want to look at my skills, actually. No, I can't. Welcome to the character screen. Here you can upgrade and configure your sleeper. On the left, you can upgrade your skills to improve the skill modifier applied to dice. To the right, you can upgrade your push, the unique ability of your class. When upgrading your push, only one upgrade at each level can be active at once. You can configure which upgrade is active only while at a hub. Got it. Alright, so do these skills mean anything? Zero points available. Got it, coach. I will just never get good at engage. -1 stressed on focus die, positive outcome. +1 to affected dice. I can't get these either, right? Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So are there no passives anymore? It seems a little odd that there wouldn't be, like these feel like passive things. But maybe not. Maybe it's all in the push now. Push cost glitch, not stress. That'll be interesting to figure out what the hell that means. We have this negative clock over here. The rig, your refuge in the belt. You can quickly visit and leave the rig with right click. The rig is your ship and home in Starward Belt. In the Starward Belt. While the rig is docked at a hub, there are multiple areas you can visit. Bunks. Use dice to reduce stress. Galley. Use supplies to regain energy. Other locations will unlock as you play. While the rig is a hub, your crew will also help to gather resources and contribute to the upkeep of the ship. You can choose which resources they should focus on in the crew task menu to the left. They have a random chance of acquiring it at the beginning of the following cycle. Got it. There's some distance between you and... This clock is a cycle clock. It will progress towards an event each cycle. Its completion will trigger significant events. Got it. This is where my drives are. I don't have drives. I got some good dice rolls. Perform actions by assigning action dice to them. The higher dice you assign, the more likely you will be to succeed in an action. Your dice will be modified by your skill. Your skill modifier for the actions is displayed on the right and will reduce or increase the value of the dice, yada yada yada. Like skill checks, dice actions have 3 outcomes: positive, negative, neutral. Each action is also rated safe, risky, or dangerous, based on the outcomes it has. The more dangerous an action is, the more significant both its reward and consequences are. More information, yada yada yada. Trade scrap is dangerous. But it's engineering, which I like rock at, right? I could just do this. But identify materials and cleaning out components. Nice. Just request a clock. Clocks track your progress towards both positive and negative events and can be filled by performing actions or passing cycles. Should get food like I promised I would. Explore the docks. Chat to crews. Either of those are my strong suit. I'm the worst at food, let me tell you that. Buy fuel. Fill fuel. Okay. Buy supplies. Fill supplies. If I was just the fucking Rockefellers. It's true. It's one of my things. That character is sort of deliberately bad. Not deliberately bad. Let's be an engineer again. Rules of the exchange. I know the rules of the exchange now. New location discovered. The Hexport docks. That's not a new location. I did not discover that. This, the Hexport Canteen. Here you can eat in exchange for cryo. Eating gives you energy and stops you starving. Different foods give different amounts of energy. Sick. Also, I earned this money myself to get a food. Yeah, that's my food. Nom nom nom. 4 energy, Jesus Christ. Some good ass food. Okay, well, what am I gonna do with myself on a day-to-day? Probably look for a safe thing. Skill required. Damn, I'm always saying this about exploring the docks. It's dangerous. We should get a little fuel. What if we came back? I'm not gonna fill up. We might need some money. But I want, gosh, I'm gonna make Seraphin so proud of me and my business acumen. Oh, the other one's gone. Like, I did a little engineering work, and now all I can do is come over to the docks. So that's risky. Ugh. That's a little risky. 75% chance it's okay. Neutral outcome. Minus energy. Cruise in a new location discovered. The Bends. Play Star and Stroker. It's a gambling game played with custom magnetic dice. Chips are stashed in symbol marked cans, and winning is ruthlessly luck based. The tour coin. Buy a Ben's Fry. Plastic bag of flash fried salt flecked tubers. The Ben's Fry brings spacers back to scattered tables of the bar cycle after cycle. Okay. Like I did, you do 2 engineering jobs and they basically kick you out of the whole affair. Please, there's got to be something I can do with my dice that just doesn't have me utterly... Okay. These are the only 2 things I can really do with my dice. Future outcome. I'm more of a Hexport expert. Yeah. Okay. You used all your dice for this cycle. You need to end the cycle at your ship, the rig, to re-roll them. Oh, wait. Asked. Oh, Seraphin is doing odd jobs for cryo. I see. And then I get a little hunger. We're in trouble, sleeper. Seraphin leans into the bunks as you're getting up. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift out of the passage, pulling on your clothes, and glide down the length of the rig, the cool air making you shiver. Seraphin is a silhouette silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through a side door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphin inside, holding one of a tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving in the zero-G engine room. You know what these are? Fuel pipes? Close enough. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air. And before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What happened? It must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. We're lucky the reserve tank is empty, otherwise, he shakes his head, it would have been bad. But, he pushes the pipe back to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that the rig's range is limited to the local region only. He thumps the large lumpen housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it? That's the short of it. Seraphin whacks the engine housing again, harder this time. Just not been our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evidence in the violence of his movements. We need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into a crate. So how about you try and track them down? Take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I've heard on Hexport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe you can do some recon while I sort this place out? It's on the other end of the station. Okay, I'll take a look. Seraphin keeps working. Wait. Seraphin pauses signature. There's something else. Drops the feeding lines and they float, waving in the air like a tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt. He frowns. A message went out everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. Shit. You said it, which is why we need those feed lines. Going to try and work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. I'm no ship fitter. Well, I do the hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Get going. You leave the engine room and the clanking sound of Seraphin's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines. That's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. You discovered a drive. Drives help you track and choose your objectives. The arrow button in the top left opens the drive menu where you can choose which drive to track. Once a drive is tracked with the yellow marker will be placed above locations relevant. Drives come in two types. Ooh, a major and minor. Completion of a major drive rewards 2 upgrade points and a minor rewards 1. Eat. Apex port. Alright, well, let's track escaping Hexport. Because otherwise we might die. Alright, what can I do? I can endure. Factory is filled with workers helping them might win you some fans among the factories. The owners are mostly in terms of supply and demand, but going door to door might help you find the ship fitter you need. I'm okay at enduring, right? I think I'm like okay at endure. No. Oh, I'm not. Into it, I'm not. Okay, so I'm better at into it, actually. Trusted supplier. That was the positive outcome. Just little scrap contracts. And the factory owners respond well to the haggling, eager to meet your challenges. Okay. One more good one. This could be a little negative. Yeah. You have a little trust in the factories. Now the trick is not to waste it. Factory Row houses you glide through its cramped passages. Where its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufactories precisely engineer components with rapidly shifting arms, while scrappers hammer incessantly at bent ship plates. Everywhere you look, there is energy and activity, and for good reason. Hexport itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector. Even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange, far-off way, because of Darkside. That place and your memories of it are a muddy haze, but it is hard to forget the glint of its hexagonal reflectors, 10 or 20 times more in number than Hexport's, and that wild, flickering city growing on the back like a tumor. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial, but deep in Factory Row, you could almost be back in Darkside. And then you see them, tubes, just like those Seraphin had waved in your face, the feed lines. You push over to the display window of the unit marked Karsten's Supply in block capitals cut from hull plate. There, amongst an angled shelf of oversized ship components, sit the feed lines, like some large biomechanical tangle of snakes. You slip inside. The sound of Factory Row is a little screened, and spot a large figure working at a bench, hunched over, concentrating. Doesn't seem to notice you. Wait patiently. Ooh, Karsten. You let him work, watching as, despite his heavy build, he delicately aligns components, their layers slotting like puzzle pieces. After a few moments of observing the process, he turns his head a little towards you. Can I help you? His accent is heavy, but unknown to you. Those feed lines, how much? There's a sharp clink as Karsten places his tools and component against a magnetic plate on the wall. He turns with a surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on a cloth. His sharp eyes scan you, but Karsten's thickest features do not betray the result of his assessment. Custom built those for a client that never collected. He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking on for stray oil stains. You one of the old Mevs then? He sounds at the letters in a way you don't recognize he speaks. Okay, MEVs. You try to recall anything you know about your ship. Memories elude you. Perhaps Seraphin should have come along. I think so. Right. Look, drifts over to where you're standing, his imposing height evident. For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in a distinctive monotone, let's say a few hundred cryo on clean chits. He shoots a glance at the feed lines. 400, let's say, to be precise. I don't have 400. Kirsten looks at you up and down and sniffs. It's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but it's just what they're worth. He screws up his mouth a little into something that might be a smile. However, I'm more of a bartering type myself anyway. Barter sounds good. Carson nods sagely. There's a favor I need a crew for, and well, you look like you might be a good fit. He tucks the cloth away in a pocket and clasps his hands. I know of an old Solheim wreck out there. Very old, pre-collapse. It's tucked away in a dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it. Not only that, but Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by an unfamiliar ship, so it's been left well alone. But a salvager like you with an old Solheim rig, I bet it wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming. I have a special interest, a need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships had a data core. While I don't care about the accounting reports or material ledgers or whatever they kept on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So if I was to find you back here with that data core in your cargo hole, clean, cut, and complete, well, then I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feed lines. Karsten pauses, sniffs the air again. You just need the coordinates. Simple as that? Simple as that. So, you interested? Because I'm a busy man. I'll do it. All right, then. He holds out a heavy hand for you to shake. As you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Christian pulls you closer, squeezing your arm. Let's keep this one between us, all right? He half smiles, his face huge and close. It's our deal. Before you can respond, he thumbs a little drive into your palm. Those coordinates. And he lets you go. He lets go of your arm with what you swear is a wink. You take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Karsten having returned to his workbench. You turn and glide out of Karsten's supply with a growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach and a cacophony of factory row in your ears. A contract. Seraphin might even be impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind, in possession of an improved ship, too. Suddenly, a small but firm hand falls on your back, an equally small voice coming with it. Hey, wait up! Junie, secret data trader. You turn the passage to see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide. She clearly just came out to catch you. She steadies herself, using her shoulder. Sorry, she smiles a quick and flat smile. Wanted to catch you. I'm Junie. Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrapers call a deck, and her backpack full of components and trailing wires. What's up? Karsten, she starts, grabs her breath. He sent me to grab you. She smiles that flat smile again. Wants me to come with you on that job. Her eyes shoot down to the drive in the palm of your hand. She smiles again. Why didn't he tell me? I guess he forgot? He does that sometimes. She looks sheepishly at you. He just grabbed me after you two were done talking, so... Karsten's always sending me on things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out. Keep an eye on things. I can be pretty helpful. So... should I meet you at your ship? And you can tell me when you're ready to go? Alright. So we have to decide if our character... You know what? Our character's bad with confrontation, but also I'm not sure. Sure, I mean, you aren't sure when you're leaving? Yeah. Oh, that's okay. I can wait. It's okay. Looking forward to working with you. She calls back at the aftershot. What about the ship? Oh, I'll find it. She calls back and disappears down the passage. You watch her go. Glad of the contract, but nervous too. Will Karsten keep up his side of the bargain if you deliver? I don't know about this sleeper. Seraphin looks nervously out the rig's windows and you finish explaining Karsten's deal, as well as Junie's offer of help. If this job was easy, Karsten would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. He frowns at the stars. There's definitely something going on with this Junie girl. What choice do we have? What if we could get the crowd together to buy the feed lines? Is that even possible? Found a contract board at the exchange further in station. Taken on a job? That might get us some of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do take the Karsten job, a bit of money to get ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel, supplies, be ready for whatever comes. Do we have time? Probably not, but without cryo for fuel and supplies, we aren't going anywhere. Seraphin sighs. Just take a look at the contract board, see what you think. Alrighty, might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew, too. Many hands make light work and all that. Or we stop messing around, we take Karsten's job right now and get it done before he can think twice. Seraphin yawns. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, I've still got work to do on the drive. Seraphin nods a farewell. Let me know what you decide. For a moment, you pause, letting the haze of plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly, you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles lock tight. Your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection is broken. It's almost impossible to describe, like you're floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. Nothing familiar in the pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes, and you're back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. Pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb and then a residual flicker. You flex in 0G, stretching out the tension. There's a strange sensation of distance that persists beyond the pain, a disconnection between your body and yourself, a flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you will have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. It could be moments away from collapse, or it might persevere for countless cycles like this. You try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they're yours again. Time is the only thing you need. Right now, it feels like it's running out fast. You head for the airlock. You have work to do. You even like a contract. Open the map screen to view it. What's the map screen? Complete a board contract. Bless me. Oh, this is the map screen. I'm a dummy. Oh, contract board. Station managers have located a Conway signal. They're concerned to see one so close and are looking for someone to disable its source. I have to buy the contract? Signal contract accepted. I'm gonna give us a little more fuel. And with the last of my money, I'm gonna go buy some fried tubers. Here, it's good stuff. Woo! All right. We've got that contract. Local crew. Where the hell does that happen? Swift scrap sold. The docks. Okay, well, if I'm gonna have crappy dice, and this was one of these was material processing. This seems like a place I could get money for being an engineer. Where open shifts are always available. I'm always on duty. That was a neutral outcome. Took a little energy. But you know, that's okay. Ugh. But it's also like the best thing I have available. So let's try it and just hope for a neutral. Woo! Now it's time to go EP. Let's have you... Yeah, cryo. Cryo can be anything. Ooh, a 6. Let's do this. Nice. Export. Expert. As you're gliding across the docking concourse, you hear a scuffle. The noise of raised voices cuts through the conversation, drifting out the dockside shops. Glancing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab at the bag slung over his shoulder. You don't like the way this looks, but then again, Seraphin told you to keep your head down. Endure, rush in, cause a distraction, or be a coward. Positive outcome, minus stress. You look around for something that could break up the fight and see a thick cooling pipes running down the alley wall. You quickly try to understand the system and choose a valve to start spinning. As you do, the system begins to vent in sequence down the alley, violent jets approaching the group. There's a scramble in the alley, and you spot the figure who is being attacked drop down to the alley floor. Then the scene is blanketed in pale coolant, and everything goes still. As the clouds settle and condense on the pipes. As they do, you see the clear alley, the assailants having fled with one figure gliding towards you. Suppose you think that was clever. You are either very smart, shakes his head, or very lucky that those jets missed me. Which is it? Who's helping? Femi? Man laughs. Well, thanks, I guess. He kicks off and drifts past you. You watch the man go, and after a moment he stops and turns back. Rubs his forehead, looking down, he says, "What's your deal anyway? Maybe you're new here, but Hexport is no place for do-gooders. You needed help." The man smiles. "I don't think so." He shakes his head. Bunch of cowards. Idiots, too. Getting beat up over some scrap. Look, let's not hang around, alright? Man pats his chest. "I'm Femi." Unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you. "Make yourself useful. Let's head." Get the strap of the bag over your shoulder and follow him through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. Cuts down a side passage, looking back to check that you are following. Then he stops at a docking bridge, connecting a dull green ship with yellow markings. You look out the viewing window at its old catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separate holes welded together. "Symbol crash," he says. You assume the ship's name. Ooh, yeah. Headstrong and spirited Salvador. "I mean, you bringing in strays?" A young woman, brightly dressed and stretching as she glides, drifts into the passage. She glances at you. "No offense." "Nia," Femi shakes his head. "This one helped me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself." Nia raises an eyebrow. "I'm sure you could handle them, big brother." Her glib response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. You can't tell if Femi noticed, not Fermi. Nia turns toward you. "Thanks," she smiles slightly. "And I'm sorry for my brother." She shoots him a glance. "Just in general." "Nia," Femi murmurs. "Enough now." Reaches over and takes a bag you were carrying. Nia rolls her eyes at you, but stays silent. Factory Row wouldn't take these. Femi hefts the bags. "I'm gonna load them back up. Maybe we'll find a use for them." Goes back to you. "Thanks for the assist, Sleeper. Not what I expected." He slaps a button for the bridge door and kicks off along the dock bridge on his way to the symbol crash. He looks at you with raised eyebrows. "I hope my brother was joking. Or did you really help him?" "I tried." "Thank you." She looks back at the ship. "My brother needs more help than he admits." "Okay." Pauses. "I want to ask you something." Takes a deep breath, then gives you a direct look. What is she building up to? "Are you looking for a crew?" She looks away. "Sorry to be direct, but you seem like, well, you are on Hexport. Maybe you're with a crew. I mean, maybe your crew needs crew? Maybe you're looking?" "I am?" She struggles to hide her smile. He looks back at the ship, and then at you. "Look, I'll be honest. Being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he is suffocating me." She frowns at her own bluntness. "I'm not a kid anymore, you know, but he still sees me like one. I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts." She gives you a determined look. "What do you think about it?" I'll think about it. I'm a good salvager, all right? You can use me," she smiles. "I can spot things, find gaps, ways in. I know what I'm doing. Femi taught me well." She glances back at the ship. "Just consider, all right? Let me prove myself." Suddenly, a shout comes from the ship, echoing down the passage. Femi, he makes both of you nervous. Nia looks in his direction. "I should go." She pushes off to the edge. "I'll be waiting." He gives you one last glance as she departs, then disappears into the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. I got a point. Can I spend that point on anything? Absolutely not. Glitch and push. If I go here, does that like show this as potential crew? It does not. Oh, warehouses. Freight loading. I can endure for money. Damn, I need food after all that bad engineering jobs I did. Fortunately, I made some money back. Oh, we could just actually get the money. That's so funny. We have that contract. It's risky. still have to leave the ship to like do the dang thing. I'm gonna take a little more supplies too. So, oh my god, supplies are so expensive. Are you kidding me? Hang on, it's time to lift 16 tons, and what do I get? Neutral outcome. Go again. Neutral outcome. It's still more money than fucking God. Okay. Pretty good. This one's got the most powerful food. God, my kingdom for a safe action to just throw this throw this dice away on. If I go here, how do I? Shipboard kitchen, rig engine, big bunks. Oh, we need to fit the feed lines there. Make a meal. Oh, that's what supplies do. I see. It's like it's a meal system. That's risky. I could do loading for a risky, which is better than it being dangerous. Admittedly. That doesn't use a dice. How do I? Okay. This will tell me how to complete the contract, ostensibly. Oh. Oh. Contracts are high-risk, high-reward jobs that you and your crew can take on. Contracts require preparation and care to succeed. You'll need to gather enough fuel to travel to the contract. Gather as many supplies as you can afford to keep you and your crew going. Look for opportunities to recruit crew, temporarily or permanently, to help you on the contract. Consider which crew to take carefully. They have different skills and stress resistances, and who you choose can affect the story. Once you're ready, you can select the contract from the map. Okay. This is the big scary one. That would need all our fuel. This would need a lot of our fuel. I think we do that tomorrow. We end this cycle and then do that shit. Fine, we'll go like fucking load. Do freight loading. It'll probably be bad. Neutral outcome, okay. Just 8 cryo, I'll take it. Now we end the cycle. I noticed that my body has not done anything that suggests that I'm decaying in the like odd. Ooh, what would the neighbors say? Okay, I have 50 cryo. Okay. So here's how we do this. We're gonna fill up on fuel. I'm even gonna spring for a supply. And so yeah, we're gonna do this on-way signal. And I can select crew. Seraphim. Yeah. Your skills are in intuiting? Why not? We're going on a mission. It's a drone. Seraphim spots the signal source first, the light barely shimmering off its dark hull plating. A design trait that betrays its covert use. Flash catches your attention and you see a rent in the hull through which red lights pulse. Wounded, Seraphim shakes his head. Wish they'd finished the job. See one before? We've seen one before. Don't you? Sorry, I know this isn't your fault. He looks at the drone. Landos had work on one in Darkside Bay that was barely a shell, disarmed and deactivated. He had us searching through its guts for salvage. Even that one gave me the creeps, and it had its core ripped out. He pushes the ship closer. This one's still live. Conway. Nia kisses her teeth. Corporate scum. You glance over at her and see fire in her bright eyes. They don't even dare to come here and force us out themselves. It's all proxies and drones. Typical core-bred cowards. Seraphim carefully guides the ship closer. You watch the drone. System is full of these things now. Running missions for their operators. Rare to see one out in the belt, though. Maybe got hit during a run-in with Senate stat mercs? Looks like it's drifting. Most of the system's blown out. But look there. He jabs a finger towards a red light on the far side of the drone. Still broadcasting, and maybe even receiving. Can it attack us? Unlikely. Would have blasted us already if it could. Comforting. He looks nervous. Seraphim brings you even closer. What I remember from the dark side job is that the central core and the broadcast array need to be shut off to kill these things. Core will turn off local systems, and the broadcast array will sever the link with the Conway operators. But you can bet those systems are protected. Attention is suddenly drawn by a shudder from the drone, like a tremor running along its length. This thing is rigged to blow, Sleeper. Friends. Go slow and careful. We don't touch anything we don't know about. Turns back to Nia. You hear that? I got you. She looks sincere. Seraphim brings the rig to a stop, close enough for you to cross through the open space to reach the drone's hull. Let's suit up. You head down the airlock to prepare. As you get suited up, you think of the corporate war taking place in the inner system, the war that this drone was driven from. Out here on the shore of the conflict, the biggest danger is that the flotsam and jetsam drifting in with the tides and orbits of the system might, one cycle, bring the war with it. For now, the belt is outside of its reach, but looking at the red pulsing drone, that doesn't give you much comfort. Welcome to your first contract. While on a contract, you'll be able to assign 2 dice for each crew member as you would assign your own dice. Pay attention to the crew's skills and use them effectively. On certain outcomes, crew will take crew stress. When their stress is full, you will no longer be able to use them to perform actions. While on a contract, your energy bar will automatically be supplied for each cycle that you have available supplies. When your supplies are depleted, both you and your crew will take 1 stress per cycle. Contracts also have their own contract stress. When this bar is filled, the contract will fail. Good luck. I see. Okay, so I can do that. Whoa! There's a lot happening here. Engineering. Drone is in a delicate state. So this is the control access for the drone, and that's the rigged to blow. Broadcast access, drone rigged to blow. Identify route. Possible to slip through the gaps in the drone's damaged hull, but once inside, where to go? How to find the broadcast array. Create opening, which is via enduring. I see. We do this, and this will be a positive action. Hey, watch me now. Now let's go do my part, which is the engineering. Okay, this is appropriately tense. I like the party system here. Neither of you interface. No. Alright, considering what we're up against, I'm going to take this. Create an opening via endure. There's a gap in the drone sustains a damage. With a lot of effort, it might be possible to pry away the plates and create an entry point. Shit, I was so close. Drone stress. Ugh. You got this, bud. Okay, maybe you don't. Damn. Oh, Christ, you're really bad at that. Looks messy, Sleeper. How good do I feel about a 25% chance pretty good, actually. Yeah, I do. Y'all, I'm so good at engineering. Don't even trip, dog. You gain some stress. As your stress increases, you'll have a higher chance of taking damage to your action dice each time you roll them. Ah. That seems awful. Oh, I have push now. +1 stress, +2 to lowest dice. I could turn that into a 4, which would become a 5. Perfect. All right, we did that. During a contract, you can use your push ability once per cycle to give you an edge in a tricky situation. Pushing accrues 1 stress, what will give you a key advantage based on your chosen class. See your current push configuration if you hold your mouse over the button. Your push cannot be used at the hub, but when at a hub, it can be upgraded and configured in the character screen. You hear the beeping immediately. Among the chambers and the cabling of the drone's interior, something has started counting down. Guys, does anyone else hear that? Because I'm getting nervous. Shit, this is what I was worried about. Are we screwed? Can't be sure. Seraphim has dropped his voice to a whisper, as if that might make a difference. Either this thing is about to send out a distress call or it's about to blow. Gotta shut this system down fast, he pauses. Then we move on to the other side, because I bet you there's a surprise waiting for us there too. We good? Nia sounds tense. Am I heading back to the ship or what? Seraphim cuts in. We're good. We keep going. Shuts off the channel. You take a moment in the silence. Alright, time to deal with this fast. Get over to the other side before something happens. Control system. Oh, we got 3 cycles to do this. Let's go nap. Applied, no energy loss. Whoa! Oh shit! Y'all! I ate the good Wheaties! Look at those dice rolls! Oh, baby! Into it. Seems the yellow cabling is part of the broadcast system. Following it may be the key. Yeah, don't worry. I'm so good at everything that's ever existed. Oh, that wasn't it? Oh, we have to hack the broadcast now? Drone death. Disable the core. Shut down the broadcast array. Once both are done, Conway drone won't bother anyone anymore. Disconnect backup. Ah, into it. Well, that was great. And this is what? Interface and whatever. None of us are particularly skilled at. Oh, you're just really bad at it, huh? Okay, well, we have another cycle. I didn't quite... Okay. Seraphim. Oh, you're really bad at this, huh? What happens if I have you do a bad thing? Let's risk it to win the biscuit. Okay, you get stressed, which I don't like love. Come on. Okay, fine. We all go to bed and we wake up tomorrow to, I guess, hopefully fix this. Okay. Okay, Seraphim. Looking good. Into it, lady. All right. That's disabled. That's good. Let's look at turned down to a 4. Still. Hey. Drone death. The thrumming, pulsing interior of the drone goes still for the first time since you boarded it. You look across at Seraphine and Nia and share a smile. You all exhale so loudly it can be heard over the suit's shared comm channel. The drone is dead. One less piece of Conway shit to worry about. We killed it. Don't get too excited, Seraphine cuts in. It was looking pretty rough when we got here. Make your way back out of the hole. The drone is now faintly rolling in one direction. Its stabilizer's offline. He catches with you as you glide towards the rig. You make a pretty good crew, Sleeper. What will your brother think? Don't go ruin it by bringing him into this. Maybe he'll never find out. Reach the rig's airlock and take one last look at the drone's dark hole. It catches the light as it rolls in the vacuum. At some point in the near future, this drone will likely be smashed to pieces by one of the many asteroids of the belt, spread across this place as twinkling dust. The thought pleases you. I mean, don't tell me what to do, but also, yeah, probably. How's the audio, by the way? I hope the audio is good. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, because I always think about the audio a lot lately. I just thought of all that cryo-hexport now, Zozie. Time to go collect. Contract is concluded. You can leave via the map. -5 stress during travel. Ah. Yeah, okay, so stress. I see. After docking at Hexport, Seraphine lets go of the controls and leans back in his chair. Leans over. Thank you, Sleeper. I know you took a chance on me. Thanks for helping. Smiles an infectious smile. Feels good to make a contract work, no matter how we pull it off. It's hard not to agree, and it feels better when the Hexport courier comes with a lockbox full of chits. They might be hunting you, but this should help efforts to slip his net. Suddenly you hear a familiar voice. Nia. Nia glides into view, fixed with you stare. What are you playing at, Sleeper? Nia wanted to come. Go to speak, but Nia drifts towards, cutting you off. Don't come throwing your weight around, Femi. I can make my own decisions. She glances back at you. Sleeper took me at my word, and I'm grateful. Femi is fuming. Did they know? Did they now? Well, if you're working for Sleeper, I hope they paid you well. Well, I asked, so... Oh, so they aren't paying you. Seraphine crosses his arm. Let's keep this civil. You realize this is the first time he's meeting Femi. If we're being civil, seems like Nia's owed her share. Femi fixes pay Nia a share. Grab around a quarter of the chits from the lockbox and hold them out to Nia. She takes them sheepishly. All right, then. We're good here. Turns to leave. Nia mouths a sorry and follows Femi across the docks. You ought to pick him, Sleeper. Shakes his head. Turns his way just to... I just hope we aren't going to end up with a stack of cryo short when we need to get out of here. It's completed a drive. You have push upgrades available. I understand where that dude's coming from. But like my guy, my dude, she did do the work. Like, I'm gonna pay her. I'm gonna pay her. -1 stressed on focus die positive outcome, or +1 to the affected dice. That, please. All right, so now we need to think about doing this other thing. That did make us a lot of money, and because that made us a lot of money, I feel pretty confident going and buying all the fuel. World. I did it from the wrong spot. I'll even fill the supply cabinet. Okay. But we should really get those feed lines and get the fuck out of here. All right, and you interface, you have to come. Let's go. She's gonna screw us, but like, it's free real estate. Solsheim Derelict fixed the cockpit window, all twisted plates and skeletal structure work. You watched in horror and fascination as Seraphine completed the approach, both of you silent in the presence of this decaying beast. Now, as you settle beside it, Seraphine is the first to break the silence. This thing is already dead. He shakes his head. It's a corpse, Sleeper. He nudges the ship closer, looking for a place to dock. Touch this thing too hard, it'll crumble to dust. Let's not do that. Aye, aye. He rolls his eyes. Any other tips? Take us up there. That's the bridge. Junie points towards the end of the ship, and both you and Seraphine turn around, having forgotten she was even in the cockpit. She hasn't said a word since you departed. Oh, whoops. She glances at both of you, bemused faces. What? Sorry, that's where we need to go. She stops pointing. Seraphine nods towards Junie. She's not wrong, Sleeper. A bridge would be a good start. The bridge, then. Seraphine nods and brings the ship under control. Let's do it. Seraphine takes control of the ship, avoiding the debris field closer to the center of the wreck. He settles in the position near the protrusion at the far end. This is as far as I'll go. Seraphine taps the anchoring controls. You should be able to anchor the ship to those plates. You hear Junie begin to protest from behind you, but it's too late. Seraphine fires 2 piton-tipped anchor lines at the nearest solid hull plates. Pitons slam into the plates, and despite their solid appearance, they instantly shatter. Fragments spin out across the wreck, slicing into other plates and building a spiraling storm of debris. Shit! Seraphine nudges the ship back and stays the debris as the debris cascades across the surface of the wreck. Damage seems mostly superficial, but it underlines just how fragile the derelict is. Let's not do that again. Junie glances between the two of you. The data core will be very fragile. We got it. Seraphine snaps. He angrily unclips from his seat. Last thing I need is a backseat driver. He kicks off and glides past the corridor. Let's go. Of course. You follow Seraphine down the passage with Junie close behind. As you reach the airlock, he is already angrily suiting up, his frustration evident. Maybe be silent. The rest of the preparation process takes place in tense silence, each of you considering the delicate job ahead. You suit up too. Though you don't need a helmet to breathe, you slide one on and lock the seals for your protection. This wreck isn't going to give up its salvage easily. Or should be near the bridge, maybe even inside it. There's a lot of wreck here, and it might be good to salvage tucked away. And there might be good salvage tucked away in the cargo hold. I'm gonna go to work. Okay, well, we're gonna figure out derelict stress. Okay, so and there's 3 exclamation points. Yeah, this is technically our second contract. The first one went well because I rolled all 6s in a turn. I rolled 4 6s and a 5. So, but hello. Hope you're doing well. What do we got? Wait, is this the bridge? Which one's? Oh, this is the corroded airlock. Oh, okay. Yeah. Bridge entry. Lock dissection. It'll take longer, but cutting away the lock layer by layer is the safest thing. Forget being delicate. The clock is running on the contract. Enforcing the lock is the fastest way to gain entry. Well. Hello, Corgi. Smashed it. Sure did. Alright, what happens if I make the magic happen here? Is it really just going to be like 1? Well, heck, that was the same amount of success. What is this? Any interfacing? You seem to mostly interface. No, you do not. Well, let's focus on this for right now. Oh, I see. And you get a plus, and this just means you're neutral, which means you get the standard spread. Okay. I love that I earnestly love that I don't get to know what a negative means. Let's go for it. Let's roll that. Negative. Derelict stress. Triggered a crisis. We'll add 1 contract stress per cycle unless resolved at the crisis location. Well, shit. I mean, I suppose I should have accepted that this was a possibility. Let's engineer instead. Okay. Let's go for it. What's the worst that could happen? Nice. Lock is open. Time to move in. The bridge of the derelict lies silent. The pale beams of your suit lamps catch rows of terminals and clouds of glittering dust. Wires wave like seaweed, and the whole scene appears as if underwater. Chaotic, but still. Junie glides past you, disturbing the dust and taking you by surprise as she does. She's been a stoic presence so far. In this moment, she seems drawn forward by some force of curiosity. You watch as she bats away debris and begins checking terminals. Let her work. She's already prying an access panel on one of the more intact-looking terminals, and as she does, puffs of rust color the vacuum around her head. Approach her. She turns back to the terminal and finishes prying off the plate. Then quickly, she reaches inside, fishing around for something. Her hand comes back out with a waving cable topped with a thick connector. As soon as she sees it, she slips a keyboard-sized deck out from somewhere on her person. She runs her hand across the back until she finds the right port and slots in the connector. All of this happens in a few seconds, the routine practiced and precise. It's hard not to be impressed. Not your full Solheim ship? She glances at you, a nervous look on her face. Does she think you're accusing her of something? She shakes her head and goes back to her work. Junie's fingers dance across the deck's keyboard, and a burst of static lights up the Solheim terminal screen. A sudden burst of light and color takes you by surprise. Junie's fingers tap away, the terminal's screen flashing with blocks of color and lines of code. It buzzes and vibrates, its long-dead systems forced back into chaotic life. Then all at once, it goes dark. The terminal is dead. Shit, Junie hisses under her breath. Useless. You cannot tell if the insult is dictated at the terminal or herself. There's plenty more. She looks up at you, a confused expression on her face, and then scans around the bridge. I suppose, but even from here, I can see that most of them are less than scrap. Pray to what the data core can't be far. I'll start looking. She calls back and heads to the other side of the bridge. Seraphine glides up beside you. Everything all right? What do you think of Junie? The kid? You know better than me. Keeps to herself. She squints at her retreating form. Seraphine stretches the suit. I have to admit, it's nice to be back working, especially now that we're the ones who will reap the benefits. Feels good to be taking our fate into our own hands. I know it's pretty rough there, back on Hexport, and out here we're just as likely to get shredded by debris as find the damn data core. But aren't you glad we made a break for it? Clausen looks down, having asked the question almost by accident. I mean, I am. I just don't want to speak for you. I'm glad too. You better be. I didn't give up that little dark side cupboard I was living in for nothing. He laughs at his own joke. Look, Seraphine checks his suit wrist seals. Once we've got a bit of space behind us, once we've gone the distance, if we even manage to get that far, don't feel you owe me. I'm no charity case. You want to go our separate ways? Fine by me. Just do me the favor of telling me to my face. That won't happen. Seraphine nods but doesn't respond. After a moment, he shines his torch into the dark, checking rows of terminals all across the bridge. You watch the glittering dust as it eddies the beam. Seraphine's eyes. Let's get to it. Watch as he crosses the bridge, his torch probing the dark corners. You feel a chill run through your body as you imagine the people that once ran the ship, the Solheim crew, surely long dead. What was it like here before the collapse? And the system was the jewel in Solheim's crown. It's impossible to know. That history is lost to you now. All you can do is pick what you can from the ruins. Alright. So... oh, this is the crisis. I see. An endurance crisis. It'd be pretty bad. And you're gonna be trash at this too, right? If you need it, I'll try it. Interface. Try and reboot the system. Calculating the outcome. Okay. Nice. One way to find the ship is to just look around. I'm not gonna use this one. We're gonna sleep on this one. I think we stand to cause more problems than we'd solve. Boom, and that's why we do this. Okay, first off, let's just immediately triage this shit. Oh right, I'm bad at this. And so are you. Okay. You're like, okay, but you rolled shit. Okay, well, let's have you start interfacing. You're, you know, good at it. I like the system behind these contracts. They feel like a good way to give shorter but higher stake. Yes, I agree. This is like, hey, I wouldn't call it a criticism of Citizen Sleeper 1, but it did feel like once you started to get a handle on the system, the threat of it loses a little bit of its teeth, and this feels like a way to inject teeth back into it. You love that. Love to see it. Okay. Hull breach, though. We should think about addressing this. That's not terrible. Nice. Okay. Just plug the hole. Okay. Oh, it's just personal stress? Oh. Check this then. Peep this. Okay, but that lets us be reckless and do another stress to make this super good. By super good, I mean meh. Ah, breach sealed. Look at that. And then we're gonna nap and just hope that nothing problematic happens. If I read this correctly, it basically means, yeah, you've taken damage to a dice because of the stress. When your dice roll at the start of the cycle, your stress dictates if you take damage or not. Higher stress means a higher chance of damage. White markers above the stress bar will tell you, yep, that's kind of what I figured. I figured it just has 3 health. Has 3 health. When this is depleted, the dice will break and must be repaired to be used normally. Typically, broken dice cannot be used. However, on safe difficulty, they can and are counted as a 1. If you have many broken dice and feel stuck, consider switching to safe in the pause menu to give yourself a chance to recover. At the hub, you can reduce stress at the rig bunks location. Got it, coach. We're gonna reboot the system. And we're going to track the pathways. I was already thinking that. Great. We haven't really... What's over here? Intuit, endure. What if we did? Okay, that's 2. Like, what if we did? What if we looked at the cargo too? Yeah, that's probably excessive. Cargo storage. Scrap survey. Neutral outcome. Okay. You got a little time. And a little dice. Okay. Might be addicted to gambling. I'm bad at interface, right? Oh no, I'm neutral at it. Okay. Oh, this is telling me because I'm yellow, you're okay. I understand now. We're not gonna get out of here. At the bays. Give me that posy. Shit. Okay. I like that there's reason to just sometimes to just not risk this. I'm gonna wake up with Who could have seen this coming? How about you take some stress? How about it not be all me all the time? Thick. Now do it again, please. That can't be right. Don't know what to tell you. All right, you don't get, okay. Data core location, got it. And now let me guess, I have to actually extract it. Oh, but we can engineer a solution. This I can do. You'd be terrible at this. I have 3 1s and could explode myself trying to deal with that. A 4 feels like I should be able to use a 4. No, not there. I can't. Not here, can I? No, it's just a 2. But you know what? A 2 over here is like not a big deal. It's you get stressed a little. I did a little bit, if I'm honest. I did doubt you a little bit. Deep bays. Extract raw scrap. I see. Okay. We end the cycle. We wake up. We hope we haven't rolled like dog water. Well, shit. At the rig. For a cost once the workshop is available. Look, I know I made some plays here that, you know, are risky. You're in control. Well, I'm sure not. Glad one of us is. Here releases Junie guides the core out of the cradle. A large ball, almost, and then an achievement pops up, and now I can't read it. Thank you, achievement. Almost half your height and diameter. It glides out of the framework that held it, connections waving loose and cut. Her breathing comes through the suit's comms loud enough to be picked up, and it fills you with tense energy as you watch. Over the course of this job, you've seen Junie both focused and distracted, nervous and precise, but you've not seen her any more confident than in this moment now. She floats beside the data core, handling it with care and skill, as if it was a vast egg of some endangered bird. She glances up and sees you watching her, and notices something unfamiliar in her eyes, something that you have perhaps seen in passing moment before, only now it is no momentary lapse or change. It is set in place. You see determination. She guides the core a little away from you with one hand, at the same time comes forward, almost placing herself between you and her prize. It does seem to be hers in the way she handles it, the possessive way she screens it with her body. We need to talk. Right now. Okay. Sleeper, I want to be honest with you, but I need to know you won't take this from me. He glances around the cradle defensively, but Seraphine is already heading back to the ship to prepare the cargo bay for the core's storage. To her alone. It won't. It's you hard trying to read your expression. Karsten doesn't deserve this. This treasure, Sleeper. Do you know how many of these are left intact? She shakes her head. And all he wants to do is wipe it clean so he can use it to interface with Hexport. All that data gone. So what do you want? I want to extract the data to make use of it. You see a genuine emotion flicker in her eyes. She sighs. After extracting the data, the core will become unusable. There's a security system that will fry it if the duplication is attempted. I can delay the security response long enough to copy the data, but after that, you've done this before. Yes, that's why I came. Look at this place, Sleeper. She gestures the cradle. How many of these places are left? How many chances do we have to recover anything this old, this fragile? Like it or not, we live in Solheim's shadow and their ruins. And we know almost nothing. What chance do we have of understanding how we got here when others like them, like Senstat and Conway, are descending in this system? What can we learn? I don't know, Sleeper, that's the point. We could learn our history, how this system was settled. We could better learn the technology we need to build our lives on. We could uncover Solheim's crimes and seek to make amends. We could see beyond survival towards something else. You've never heard Junie speak like this, and you realize what you've taken for nervousness was actually control. This, the person in front of you, is defending a decaying data core with their life. This is the real Junie. But then you think of Lane, of the price he likely put on Seraphin's heads, and the feed lines, without which leaving Hexport would be almost impossible. Is this even a choice? Explain about the feed lines. Junie listens carefully as you tell her about the deal with Karsten, the feed lines he offered you, and both you and Seraphin are on the run. Then I'll help you. Find another way to get those feed lines. Karsten's an idiot. I can act as security and you can pull them out of there, or Seraphin looks tough. Maybe he can grab them? She looks desperate. We can do it. We can do something. Don't you work for him? Look, I knew you wouldn't take me if... I might have misled you there. I knew he knew where the derelict was, and I heard your conversation. I've been keeping an eye on him. Shock. I know I lied, but I can help you. Let me strip the data from the core, and I promise to help you get those feed lines. She meets your eyes with intensity. It's a lot of information to take in at once. You need a second to think. I don't think I would take a major corporate sponsor, because this is just a hobby, and I don't want to like shell out everything that I do. Sometimes I think I would. Sometimes I think I would though, because like there's some products that you can endorse and feel okay about, if not great. And in this moment, were the option to present it to be viable in the next 60 seconds, I think I would earnestly say, damn, looks like I need a moment to chew it over with a Snickers, is what I would do right now. Okay. So the things that I'm thinking about here is, one, I can understand why this data could be valuable, but it's not necessarily. And what is valuable is breathing. But what also is valuable is Junie having hacking ability. Junie makes that a potential option. And knowing there's a corporate war. Let's do it. Thank you. This is a gift to all of us, Sleeper. I hope you see it like that. Junie turns to the data core, quickly gathering one of its loose connectors. Takes out her deck and plugs it, then crosses her legs and places it across them, floating tethered beside the core. Fingers begin tapping at the keyboard, teasing out the core's data and whatever Solheim secret it might contain. What is she doing? I'll explain later. I hope you know what you're doing, Sleeper. Ducks out to... That's our ticket out of Hexport. Junie will help us. You say so. Turn to watch Junie stripping the core of its secrets. A little while later, once the core has been emptied of its defense mechanisms, has scorched its seams black, you watch the metallic sphere spinning gently in the room and wonder if you've just made a terrible mistake. Contract failed. Hey, dog. Yeah, but what if there's money? Oh, Christ. This another holy purge control. I might just bounce. Because otherwise my dice are gonna break. As much as I'd love to get the money, this is just terrible. You arrive back in Hexport. Junie speaks up from the back of the cockpit. We're going to have to act fast if we want to take those feed lines. You and Seraphim exchange glances. We're both still getting used to this new Junie. Only one of us fried the core and stole all its data. And for some reason, we let you. We can make this work. What I'm wondering, Sleeper, is why we have to. Seraphim looks infuriated. I don't think Karsten is going to take kindly to the idea that we brought someone pretending to work for him on a job and then let her have his prize. He scoffs. Points to Junie like she's an object. Do you even know what she's up to? Junie looks between the two of you. Hexport hasn't exactly been kind to me. You two trusted me even when I didn't deserve it. I'm not used to that. I want to repay it. I'm not trying to think Karsten is probably ripping you off. Even if you get enough cryo, what's to say you won't raise the price? Trust me, he's no good. I'm trying to deal with Karsten to get those derelict coordinates from the moment I arrived here, and he ran me in circles. She shakes her head. Seraphim is watching her closely. Even if I do take you at your word, which, given everything, seems a little tough, how do we even do this? Tell me we just drift in there and take the feed lines. Look, I get it, you don't trust me. What if I have a vested interest in this working out? There's nothing left for me here, and I don't feel like hanging around waiting for Karsten to figure out my involvement in all this. I need safe passage. You need the feed lines to grant it. She allows herself a smile. See where I'm going with this? I don't like it. What do you think, Sleeper? We all get something. Exactly. Let me prepare. I'll head to Factory Row, scope the place out. Meet me there and we can work out a plan. Trust me, we can find a way. We'll keep it simple, clean. Can we make it simple and clean? Simple is good. Agreed. His dark look betrays his concerns. I'll go scope out the bay we need in Factory Row. We should split up. Most likely for Christian to expect us. Meet us there in a few and we can finish setting up. Junie unclips her seat, floating. I want to show you I can be trusted, that we can do this. Believe that, please. With that, she slips away down the passage towards the airlock and Hexport beyond. You get Seraphim. I'm saying nothing, Sleeper. Either this is the kind of mess you have to go through to get to the other side, or it's the kind that you never escape. Either way, we're in it now. Stare at the chaotic lights of Hexport. Wonder if anything in the Starward Belt ever runs smoothly. No. That I know. Okay. Oh shit, it's all stuff I'm terrible at. Junie needs to create a back door into Carson's security system so you can deactivate them when the time is right. Is there any other option? Karsten cracked. And cracked. Karsten's more paranoid than we thought. Oh, I see. We're in a ooh, oh, ah, ooh, oh. Well, we kind of gotta go, huh? It's only risky. There has not been, I think, one safe action that I have attempted. Minus energy. That's tolerable. Okay. End cycle. Okay. That's pretty good. I can use this. Does this have a negative outcome potentially? Let's do it anyway. There we go. Okay. In case there's another surprise after this. The sound of fists on a keyboard wakes you from the scrolling code on the terminal screen. You turn to see Junie, a rare half smile on her face as she floats cross-legged with her deck in her lap. The blue light of the snap-on screen makes her eyes glint with a glittering excitement. Got him. Carson's whole system is mine. You push away from the terminal and glide over to her screen. Running the mapping protocol now. I want to know about every little dusty corner of his network. Is there much to map? Weirdly, there is. It's coming up now. It seems Carson's pretty paranoid. The whole system is iced over with some serious security. What are all these layers of? A red pulse flashes across her face, changing her features as it does. Shit. Her fingers dance across the keyboard. Something is closing the port. We need Another red flash, her screen goes blank. Junie's fist hits the keyboard again, harder. We've been kicked out. There's no way a salvager shop should have that kind of countermeasure. She looks troubled. That's it? We're locked out? Seems so. I think our friend Carson's involved in some nasty stuff. She rubs her forehead in thought. Wait. Fingers fly across the keyboard, her screen flickering with commands. Complex node graph assembles on the screen, a mess of interlocking connections. Mapping protocol did enough. She points to the screen. All the security systems are there. She indicates a dark section of broken connections. We didn't get what's here, but it seems like we found some kind of archive. Nothing we want. Oh, what's there? Some big data trawls. Looks like copies of old hard drives you found? Could just be a load of data left over from salvage jobs that he thinks is worth something. He's a meathead with no eye for data, so it's probably a load of debug logs he thinks are Solheim secrets. She giggles at the idea. Time to train my cat. Identify the program. Your cat? It's a Katzenjammer, cat for short. Basically, it takes a network map, finds the weaknesses, and when you hook it up, blasts the network with so much noise and raw data that it just becomes unusable. Any tech gets connected gets a killer headache. Built to take the remnants of Solheim security systems out of commission on old derelicts. I had one too many close calls. Sounds perfect. I agree. She plucks the thumbnail drive out of her deck and hands it over. The cat head sticker on it, catching the light as you turn it in your fingers. You still lost access, of course. There's an old Solheim port from the original facility just outside Karsten's. Slot the cat in there and it should be able to find a back door. What are we waiting for? Nothing, but this isn't going to be quiet. His whole system is going to get data blasted. It's not a subtle hack. When you slot the cat, you get in, grab the feed lines, and run. Sounds like one hell of a risk. Seraphin's voice catches you both by surprise as he slips into the dark and empty unit. Well, it's our best option. Seraphin narrows his eyes. And where will you be while we run the gauntlet of scrambled security and make the grab? I can monitor how it goes down remotely from here or the ship. Seraphin gives you a look. You can tell he is finding it hard to trust Junie after everything. Trust you, Junie. Thanks. I'll find somewhere else to work from. Close to the ship, but out of your way. Junie shoulders her bag and glides to the door. When you're ready, slot the cat and go. By the time you're back at the ship, I'll be there. Don't leave without me. Shoots Seraphin another look, then slips out of the unit. Seraphin watches her go, and then turns to you. The whole of Hexport is going to hear about this. We better be ready the moment you slot that thing. I'll be ready. I'll leave the ship preparing the engine. We need to be ready to fit the lines as fast as we possibly can. Be careful. Don't stop for anyone or anything. And don't even think about looking back. Okay. That's a good point. We should get broke. As much as it breaks my heart. We have used all of our money to fail a contract. And that is not lost on me. But as Seraphin says, the only way out is through. That's what he said. Okay, here we go. Carson's place is locked up for the cycle. Shutter down, alarms on. The denizens of Factory Row snaking past with deliveries and work orders. You hold your position opposite the shop and take a deep breath, waiting for a sign that this is going to work. You look at the thumbnail drive with its shimmering cat sticker sticking out of the old Solheim access port. You imagine the flow of data as the Katzenjammer seeks for an entry point into Karsten's system. You think of Junie tucked away near the ship, watching you through public networks. You think of Seraphin deep in the engine room with Rig. Hurry the hell up, you think. Enough waiting. Then you hear it, a pulsating white noise spluttering, and then a screaming out of Karsten's shop. The shutter scissors up and down, the lights pulse, the alarm gurgles in confusion. For a moment, you are stunned into stillness. People stop in the street. The shutters motor burn out in a cascade of sparks and acid. Now or never. Approach carefully. It's the best I can do. Neutral outcome. Skirt around the people watching, using them as a perimeter. They're pointing and talking, some of them laughing, while others look concerned. You confidently push past them and glide inside without looking back. It takes a moment to gather yourself in the chaos of the shop. The wall-mounted screens scream out white noise, and the flickering lights make it hard to concentrate. You keep your focus. You scramble over to the feed lines in the window, grabbing the bundle with both arms. They wave wildly in your grasp as you wrench them away and kick off from the counter, gliding back into the passage. Your arcing glide takes you into the crowd. You steer yourself through a gap in the gathering bodies and kick off hard towards the port. Feed lines wave wildly. You grip them hard to your chest and don't look back. Seraphine better be ready. Arms ache from the clutching the feed lines, but you don't loosen your grip until you see the entrance to the docking bridge. Sleeper, you almost ignore the call until you recognize the voice. Junie glides out to meet you, her hand on his shoulder towards the bridge. I'm with you now. She shoots you a glance. What a show, huh? Stay silent. Both glide down the docking bridge, Junie helping you with the trailing feed lines. From what you can tell, the news of the chaos in Factory Row has not yet reached the port. You feel a flush of excitement as you enter the ship's airlock. This is it. You did it. You try to keep focused, but the elation makes your hands tremble. You take a sharp turn in the central passage of the ship and make your way to the engine room. Feed lines now unwieldy in the cramped space. Seraphine's waiting for you, shaking his head. Looks like we're in business. And on the run from 2 different people now. I'll take it from here. He quickly begins the process of connecting the engine to the subsidiary fuel tank. You watch, catching your breath as he works. How about you make yourself useful rather than just making me nervous, Seraphine says without looking up from his paperwork. You'll close the airlock and disconnect the bridge. You and Junie glance at each other. Both of you, now, Seraphine calls out. The 2 of you turn and make your way up the passage, your nerves settling now. You arrive at the airlock and reach the control panel. Then you see him, Carson, coming up the dock. Fast. Close the airlock. Uh-oh. He slams into you with some force, sending you spinning in the metal wall behind. You jerk in pain and you hit, as you hit it, lose your sense of direction. Carson's heavy hands grab your neck and wrench towards your face. Sneaky little shit. Think I didn't know who it was when I saw it was taken? Your breath is hot on your face. I thought you sleepers were supposed to be smart. Before you can respond, he jerks back in pain, a thread of blood spiraling from his forehead. Junie swings again, the pipe catching him in the chest and sending him spinning towards the door. You watch, stunned, as she inputs the closure sequence with trembling hands and the doors hiss closed, obscuring Katzin's floating body from view. She's breathing hard and doesn't look up. The pipe drifts from her hands, spinning gently in the air. Thank you. Junie looks back at you, opens her mouth as if to speak, her eyes wild. Seraphine rushes past, gliding up the passageway from the engine. Come on, get yourself strapped in. You and Junie silently follow him, your head spinning, your thoughts racing. You slip into your seat as Seraphine punches the departure sequence. The rig begins to pull away from Hexport. Seraphine's hands on the controls. You lose your eyes and feel the force of the thrusters firing. Whew. What the? Seraphine's quiet question interrupts your thoughts as the rig cuts across the belt. Hexport is now behind you, drifting out of visual range. Its glinting lights now just part of the background glow of the belt's thousands of reflective bodies. Whatever trouble you stirred up there, it has surely been left behind. Which is why Seraphine's muttering is worrying you. What's up? Returns. There's a transmission coming out of Hexport. Some kind of evac order? Turns his back to the console. Let me check this. Sleeper. The voice distorted as it cuts through you. Lane. I know you're there. A hissing pause. Getting a wide channel broadcast. They're warning people to alter their course away from the station. You're slipping away. But we can't have that. I take this personally, Sleeper. Sharp intake of breath. After all my investment, all my care expended upon you, and this is how you repay me. At least we're heading away, Seraphine interrupts. Maybe it's just a precaution. See a little something glinting out there, Lane continues. Could that be you? Sleeper? You hear Seraphine calling, but you don't move. You don't breathe. All you hear is Lane's voice. You unclip your restraint, drifting towards Seraphine. He gives you a wild look. Something isn't right. You don't feel right. Numbness grows in your body, your fingers flexing without your input. You reach towards Seraphine. No, not you. Something reaches out to Seraphine through you. Tension flickers in his eyes. Fear? Hissing silence, then a rumbling blast. All at once the rig screams, systems seizing in the electromagnetic paralysis. All at once the rig shifts, carried on some shockwave of light. Pain, then darkness. Ow. Voice echoes warmly through your mind. You can't quite make out what's being said, and any attempt to focus causes a growing flare of pain, so you let them fill the air, unidentifiable and soft. You're floating, and you cannot yet feel your body or its weight. The feeling is pleasant, soothing, and yet the moment you realize this, it begins to fade. Something spasms in your finger, and you flick it away. A sensation crosses the sole of your foot, and you kick your leg. A weight settles itself in your chest. You are awake. You open your eyes to light playing across the surface pattern with stained cushioning. You are alone. The voice is replaced by the hum of air cycling, a distant clank of maintenance systems. You are alone, and this is not your ship. You jerk upwards against the straps that hold you loosely to the berth, suddenly confronted with the last things you remember, an overwhelming numbness, and below it, an insipid, animating force creeping through your mind. pull at the straps and free yourself, floating up into the small habitation room, cushioned and warm, your mind racing. Where is this? You glance around, taking the small room with its knickknacks tucked behind webbing, its stained and worn storage units, its faded padding. This is someone's home. Old light fills the room, and you float over to the dark square of the window. You see stars, bright pinpricks of drive tails, and skeletal docking bridges. This is a station. A sudden hiss draws your attention to the door, which slides open with a puff of equalizing pressure. Bliss. Troubled repair technician. The entering figure jumps as they see you are awake. You're up. They hesitate in the doorway. Who are you? They laugh nervously. Right, we didn't meet. They glance back out the doorway as if looking for help. I'm Bliss. They shrug, not sure what to add. Your crew are out. Sorry, they brought you here. Here? Right. They nod slowly. This is my room. Glance around. Not much, I know. You're in my repair bay, out on the far spindle. You know where that is? In the belt? Yeah. They smile sympathetically. In the belt. They look around the room again. Come on, let's go somewhere a little more comfortable. They hold out hand. You're safe. Don't worry. By the way, how's the audio? Is the audio good? I hope the audio is good. Follow them out into the corridor, gliding behind them. They move with the ease of someone who was either born in Zero-G or has spent most of their life in it. I feel like the people, now that I've... Dope, audio good. I feel like the people who play this game, and this is probably not, like, wild to say. I feel like the people who played this, or the people who made this, really like The Expanse. They didn't make a thing that's exactly like The Expanse, but they must like The Expanse, right? They guide you to the enclosed balcony where the heavily scratched, thick acrylic windows look out onto a chaotic-looking wet dock. At the center of the dock is the rig, scratched and worn, but still your ship. It's a reassuring sight. She okay? She will be when I'm done with her. Bliss sees you staring at the rig. Took some damage, but she's a hardy old thing. Your ship. You were lucky I heard your distress signal. Since they are holding something back. I guess that expensive long-range array I was tricked into buying finally paid off. They laughed to themselves. Well, at least for someone. You're out cold when I got there, and have been for all the cycle since. Your friend wasn't in great shape either, but he bounced back fast. I make a habit of doing that. Oh no. Troubled, stubborn, and medically infirmed on the run. Make it a habit of doing that. Seraphine's voice makes you spin around. Good to see you. He can't suppress his smile. You okay? Don't start fussing over me, sleeper. I'm good. Your eyes fall to Seraphine's bandaged abdomen. He notices and pulls the jacket over his wound. Certainly looks better than when you came in. You should have seen. Bliss abruptly stops after Seraphine glares in their direction. Here, Seraphine pulls a few chits out of his pocket. Catch. Slings them over to Bliss. That's all I could get for now. Working in your condition? Please, I'm fine. Bliss looks at you apologetically. I know what it looks like, but I'm sorry. I can't work for free. Keeping this place going is bad enough. I get it. Seraphine nods. We're just thankful you towed us in. We aren't freeloaders. Bliss looks between the two of you. I'll let you two catch up. They turn to you. I'm glad you're awake. We were worried. They pat you on the shoulder and glide back down the corridor. With Bliss gone, silence descends on you and Seraphine, both of you unsure what to say. Are you sure you're okay? Seraphine appears annoyed, but after a moment, his expression softens. I'm surviving. It's going to take a while to heal. That's what they tell me. No heavy lifting, etc., etc. He shrugs and flinches a little at the pain. What do you remember? Looks... Lane. Lane? Seraphine looks on the right. He takes a breath, stealing himself for what he has to say. Hexport is... It's gone. What do you mean gone? It's gone. Dropped off the map. No signals apart from ones sent from fleeing ships. He frowns. I don't know what happened. No one does. Your mind skips, unable to focus on the information you've just been told. Think of the constant activity of the bends, the rumble of the factory row. Karsten. Gone. By the time Bliss reached us, we had drifted out of range. They couldn't have seen it go up, but I saw a sleeper. Something exploded, white hot. He rubbed his arms, suppressing a shiver. A moment later, the shockwave was on us. Rig was crippled. Engine kept firing, but guidance went offline, sending us arcing out across the belt. He drops his hand inside his jacket, pressing against the bandage on his side. I managed to get her under control, but not before we started spinning. Our restraints came loose, and you weren't even strapped in, so we both got scrambled. He smiles a weak smile. Felt like being trapped in an auto wash. He turns back to you. I'm impressed you made it, to be honest. Flesh and blood human would have been smashed to pieces. He goes silent, the image a little too raw for him to continue. Be to do with us? Your guess is as good as mine. Would Lane do something like that? It doesn't make any sense. You'd suppose a gang. They run Darkseid. They don't go around blowing up stations. All anyone is seeing is debris and radiation. I picked up a lot of ship transponders before the rig went offline. Maybe some people got out. He stops, unable to add anything more. You both float in silence for a moment. What now? One step at a time. You in a rush? We already owe Bliss for the work they did on the rig, and it isn't finished yet. A few more cycles, I've been told. Bliss won't hold us hostage, but I don't like to skip out without paying, even if we could get the rig started up. He rubs his necklace between his fingers. Bad karma. Beyond that, we need work, fuel, supplies. We need to make sure you are okay. He counts off the issues on his fingers. After that, I haven't heard of anyone coming after us, and if they did, they'd have to come through Hexport, or what's left of it. He looks away. Our spindle is way out of Lane's territory anyway. They call this bit of the belt the Wash. The stations here run differently to Darkseid, so for now, we have some freedom. Seraphim sighs. Freedom to go broke, starve, and even get into trouble, that is. In all honesty, I was hoping you might have some ideas. He pats you on the shoulder. Look for a contract. You won't hear any complaints from me, he smiles. We won't be able to fly out for a few cycles yet, but it won't hurt us to have something lined up. He pauses and looks away. Seraphim pauses and stares down. Look, Sleeper, I'm not sure I can work right now. I just got kicked out of a salvage yard for passing out on a job. He looks away. Even with the pain meds I've been able to scare up. I can fly, that's for sure. He stares obstinately at the rig. You're gonna need some crew if you want to do any serious work. I'm sorry. Don't be. Thanks, Sleeper. He was like, I'm gonna take a rest on the rig. I'm wiped. You look at the rig as he leaves, and the warmth and softness of your waking moments now feeling like a distant memory. Is this what you wanted? Freedom? A chance to work for yourself, not Lane? Well, here it is, with all the problems and complications you could imagine. And at what cost? Could Lane have wiped out Hexport just to try to end you? You shiver at the thought. If not Lane, then who? The theories cloud your mind. Push them away. That's not helpful. Now it's not the time for theories. You take a break. Time to make a plan. You gain some glitch. Glitch is a penalty you gain from repairing dice and from Lane's attempts to hack your system. Your current level of glitch is represented by the glitch clock. You can have a maximum of 6. Each level of glitch you gain will increase the chance of rolling a glitch dice at the start of a cycle. Each time you roll a glitch dice, you clear 1 level of glitch. Glitch dice has an 80% chance of negative outcome when used and 20% chance of a positive outcome. Oh, shit. So they're very bad. Find Junie in the airlock, her small collection of things crammed into her bag. It's coming to see you, I promise. I was waiting for you to wake up, but Seraphim said you were okay, so... You're going? I am. While you were out... She pauses. I was digging into the data I pulled from the core, the Solheim one. There's a lot of stuff in there. But it's impossible to read. Either I'm decrypting it wrong, or I don't have the right cipher. Whatever it is, I think it means the data's important. Or at least it was to Solheim. I need to find someone to help me pick away at it, to crack it open. She looks down. That's why I'm going. Understand. Yeah, it makes sense. Oh, she reaches into her bag, producing a handful of chips. Some of the data I sold, so I could buy myself a ticket to where I need to go. It's not much, but here's your share. Thank you. You deserve more, she catches. I'm sorry. Good luck, Sleeper, and tell Seraphim goodbye for me. What are you chasing? She freezes, caught off guard by your question. I know there's value, true value in that data, Sleeper. I know it, and I have a project to continue. One I won't abandon. Maybe I can tell you about it another time. She smiles weakly, closing up again. Well, see you around. You watch her drift away down the docking tunnel into the far spindle with questions still bouncing around in your head. Maybe if your paths cross again, you might be able to get some of them answered. Damn, I've been hacked. Okay, what do we got? Repairing the rig. Oh, that's just, yeah. Brief respite. Hexport's demise has put a barrier between Darkseid and the far spindle. Lane can't follow, so for now, you're safe. Wow, a whole king's ransom of 6 cycles where I won't get exploded. Spindle core. I don't have any like engineering shit I can do. Can I explore with it? Ooh. It's fun. Aha, help the residents. Okay. Cool. A new location. Ah, earn a meal. Negative outcome. You know one of the chefs and they sell you loading the auto wash. By the time you're done, there isn't much food left. But I did get rid of it. In a way that didn't... Oh, you know what I should do? I should have done this. It doesn't matter, right? That, like, I'm good at this skill. So I guess I use these on bad skills, too. Is the other... Like, I use it on engage, and it's actually better. Well, it's not better, but... Got to cruise. Ugh. Protecting a game of Star and Stoker, and particularly you lose both your money and your patience. Alright. Did get the feed lines. I did do that. Find potential crew. Explore Far Spindle. The good news is we have fuel and supplies. Alright, well that's the end of our glitchingness. And we got some cryo, presumably from Seraphin. Going to chat with our glitch dice. As Geyer. Help cakes. Order a rack. Getting racked. Let's help out the underhang. All right. Buy scrap components, process raw scrap, scrap shift. Spindle's edge. Ceiling shift. Work there. 2 jobs. Pinnacle docks. Or I could save cozy up with the terminal and study the manifest to learn this place. Sure. Neutral outcome. As you glide through the Pinnacle docks, you hear shouting going down a corridor. Tentatively change direction, your eyes fixed ahead as the passage widens out into a large bay. Others rush past you, heading towards the commotion. Your eyes are drawn by the bay's vast viewing window, which is currently being spattered with glittering shards of ice. And in front of it, a dock worker is shouting to anyone who will listen. Spacers, worker of the Far Spindle, we need your urgent assistance. The water carrier for Springtide has suffered heavy damage in transit from Wellspring. He takes a breath. All able hands, we need you to help secure the cargo. Without this water, Far Spindle will struggle to support you. He looks desperately at the crowd. Please, any who are able to help, please make yourselves known. Behind him, a corona of ice ejects from one of the tanks, drawing a pale halo around the ship. A handful of experienced-looking spacers push through the crowd towards the front, and Dockworth starts to direct to the nearby bridges. You watch the scene unfold, hesitant in the face of making someone else's problem your own. Secure the Springtide. Go EP. Well, I can't be glitched. The sound of a blaring proximity alarms. You quickly unstrap from your bunk and dizzily glance around. Lane? Bounty hunters? You kick off and glide towards the door. As you do, Bliss pops their head around. Sorry. She looks a little sheep. They look a little sheepish. In all honesty, it's not my fault. Your wiring's all backwards. It takes a moment to understand what's happening. You steady yourself against the door frame. Seriously, Bliss? Said I'm sorry, I'm handling it. Takes a while to get ready to drift down. You see the mess of what's happening. By then, Bliss has turned off the alarms. Find them unspooling wires from a hatch you'd never previously noticed in the mess's ceiling. Sorry again, Sleeper. Their voice comes through the ceiling panels, muffled and dull. Settle at the stool, nearly tucking your legs behind the crossbar. How are you doing? Me? I'm working. Helps keep my mind off things. What things? Bliss spins deftly, hooking their legs onto the open ceiling so that from your perspective, they're hanging upside down. They give you a look. Do you really want to know? A yawning Seraphim drifts in. He looks between the two of you, amused. What are you both doing up so early? You and Bliss exchange amused looks. What? Seraphim asks. You didn't hear the alarm? Shrugs. Heavy sleeper. He drifts over to the mess's cupboards to hunt for some breakfast. Turn back to Bliss, but they have disappeared back into the ceiling panels. Before long, the mess is filled with the shrill screech of a power tool. Seraphim looks totally unaffected and hooks himself onto a stool, lazily sucking at a ration pouch while he taps away at his slate. The screen finally stops. After a while, you kick off from your stool. Time to head out. Bliss rushes after you, stopping in the passageway before you can leave. I have something I want to show you. This leads you off the main corridor into a corner of the ship you don't remember visiting before. You come to a room with a low, sloped ceilings, a single round window illuminating some neat tool storage and a workbench set in the wall. Look, I'm no specialist, but I'm a quick learner and I'm good at repairs. They smile. I think you have need of me. Glance at the tear in the thick vinyl skin of your arm. Can I take a look? Okay. Smile and lead you towards the workbench. They turn your arm, looking at the tear from all angles. They reach over the workbench and take a small sealant gun from the rack. You look at the setup. It's basic, but it looks clean and well organized. They gently close the tear with sealant, pressing the edges together so it closes up neatly. After they are done, they release your arm and you can barely see the scar. Bliss admires their work. See? They smile. I know it's more serious than a tear, but I can handle it. They turn and search through a set of metal drawers for a moment. Here, they produce a couple of carefully machined pristine components. Saving these for an important job. I guess I found it. Bliss pushes the components into your hands. Take them. When you're ready, come up here and we'll fix you up. These are a rare find, though. In the future, we might have to make do with something lower quality. You can find scrap components at most scrapper ships, like that one that's hanging around in the underhang. The better the components, the easier they'll integrate with your system. I'll do my best to keep you running. Thank you. Don't worry about it. You're a guest in my bay, and I can't have my guests' bodies collapsing, now can I? Plus, I think it benefits me if you think of me as indispensable. Bliss smiles. I should get back to fixing the ship. I leave you in the workshop among the other simple tools, considering the particular qualities of your new friend. Do I have dice repair? The rig workshop above. Workshop. Or scrap components or rare components. The better components, the less glitches you will suffer. Now repair dice during a contract. Got it. Base repair. There will be minor glitches. Nice. We're back, baby. We're so back. A little shy. Ooh, it's nice not to have an exploded dice. Oh, and a trade hall. Is this fuel supplies? The manifest, I have nothing particularly helpful here. Chat to Cruz. Worst I could do is lose some money. And I'll still get the spindle core thing. Oh, neutral outcome. Our spindle lives up to its name. Its tall stature making a real effort to travel from end to end. The local solution to the problem are the transit tunnels, massive tubes bolted onto the outside of the spindle that allow for rapid passage from top to bottom. As you find yourself in one of these cavernous passages, the bulky cargo haulers rushing by, you start to wonder if braving them is worth the effort. Back up! The shout rattles down the bare transit corridor like a gunshot. It is rapidly followed by a crunchy impact. You spin back, pushing yourself against the side of the wide cylindrical passage. As you do, a hauler glides past, sending a rippling wave of air across you in its wake. Ooh. You're covering your own name, but it's Kated or something. Spikier bike courier. When the roar subsides, you hear a string of expletives coming from nearby. A spiky-looking figure, clutching some oddly shaped open-frame project, gestures wildly at the vehicle as it glides by. Dickhead. She spits an impressive glob of saliva down the tunnel. It spirals in zero G. She turns to you in her anger. See that? Tried to slam me into the wall. Total dickhead. No shit, haulers hate us. She sniffs and looks you up and down. Not supposed to be in the transit system without a vehicle, she squints. Not like I care, but maybe you do? Right, sorry. Like I said, don't care. She rolls one of her shoulders, stretching out. You're new here, right? Yes. Figures. Let me give you a tip. She begins checking her open frame vehicle, tightening bolts and untangling pipes. Avoid the haulers, dickheads, the lot of them. Especially the water haulers. I think they're better than anyone. Almost the Steve Doors, though. They're good people. Get treated like shit by everyone else, just like us. She rapidly plugs and unplugs a series of connectors. They'll show you the shortcuts. She looks up and never get in a Spindlejack's way. She smiles, spinning the vehicle in her hand. Spindlejack? You're looking at one. She pauses, considering something, then suddenly reaches into her many pockets and pulls out a small, transparent rectangle punched with holes. The text glints within, reading, Cadet, Stripline Express. You take it. Cadet, she flexes proudly. That's me. Stripline is my outfit. Kamal's the dispatcher. Small outfit, but we punch above our weight. Dispatch is here in the spindle's course. But I run the transit tunnels up and down this spindle 10 times a cycle. You know anything moving on the spindle? Data, tech, messages? Too hot for the hard line? Come find me. I'll do that. She nods. Tell them I sent you. I'll make sure it gets to me. Takes off the wall and mounts her bike, triggering a small burst of compressed air to keep herself steady in the transit passage. You hear a buzz of distorted speech from what you assume is her dispatcher. That angles her head to her communicator and mutters back into it. Gotta hop, sleeper. She looks over at you. Something flickers in her eyes. An idea? Or perhaps just a realization. You might be able to help me with something. A package that's been bothering me. Come to the office at Stripline a few cycles and I'll show you. Sure. I'm called a favor on account of me saving you from being flattened by a hauler. She winks. Whoops. Now you better get out of here before another hauler tries to squish you. You step back as she twists handlebars and a burst of air sends her flying down the transit corridor at an unsettling speed. You watch her go, slightly caught off guard by her final remarks. What would a courier need you for? Turn the idea over in your head as you find a way out of the transit corridor, back to the safety of the main concourse. I totally forgot about this ice hauling business. Okay, secure springtime. How does one do that? I probably have to explore the Pinnacle docks. I will study the manifests. Cool. Ah, and there it is. Serious leak. I see. Well, I'm going to have to encycle. Jerk suddenly awake. A fragment is lodged in your mind, a shard of sound, a signal, a tone. It resonates like tinnitus, obviously internal, inescapable. You look down to see your hands blurred, your fingers dancing as if they were typing. Settle them. Your fingers flap like caught birds. Take control. It takes all your focus to settle them. You force yourself back into them, a sensation like squeezing on a tight pair of gloves. You flex your hands a little to feel them, test them. What was that? Take a deep breath to calm yourself, but as you do, you're reminded that you don't need to breathe. It's a claustrophobic sensation you cannot shake. You get up, push off the wall, pull on your clothes. Anything to escape the dreams that hover there at the back of your mind. Seraphim drifts in casually, heading to his bunk to grab something. You can't shake the strange sensation that he's just drifted into your mind. He shoots you a glance. I said, "Are you okay? You look terrible." "Not really," you mumble a response. "You need to talk to me, Sleeper." Seraphim gives you a look. Besides, "I know something happened back when we were leaving Hexport." "I don't know." "I saw it, Sleeper. Saw something change in your eyes." I was looking for the right way to explain. "They were cold, fixed. I've never seen that before. Back when we first met, I knew it once you were human. I knew because of your eyes. I'd never met a Sleeper before, but I knew immediately that you were no machine. It was obvious. Then on the rig, I couldn't see that anymore. I don't know what happened." "What did it feel like?" As you're curious, try to identify it. Negative outcome. Oop. Close your eyes and recall the moment. You immediately begin to feel your fingers begin to tremble and jerk. You tense against the feeling of an invisible hand closing its grip on your mind. "Sleeper? Are you okay? I need to get you checked up. I need to know what's happening." Seraphim gives you a stubborn stare. "This isn't just about you." "But where?" "I've been asking around. There's another station near this one, Flotsam. It's a mess, an accumulation of wrecks and docked ships, but it also houses some of the best artificers in the wash. We should get out there as soon as the rig is ready. I'll think about it." "Can't do it for yourself, do it for me. Please. Look, I don't know what it's like to be a Sleeper. I understand there's some things you can't tell me, can't show me, but I do know how fear can keep you from doing what you need to do. I'm not going to nag you about it, but it needs to be done." He passes by you as he leaves the bunks, squeezing your shoulder as he does, leaving you to your thoughts. You finish getting dressed, feeling your body, strangeness, even though you wish you didn't. At the very least, you think you need to find someone who can stop you from falling apart. Maybe Flotsam isn't such a bad idea. Push the thought to the back of your mind. There's a cycle ahead, and the rig isn't ready. When it is, then you'll see. New drive. Diagnose your frame. This seems pretty bad. I'm gonna just come out and say it. And I rolled terribly. Let's go for it. That 20%'s looking real good. Yo. Never punished. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, indeed. Okay, that's not so bad. It's just energy. I can handle an energy loss. Let's get racked. Does that give me any energy? It does. That's really cheap energy too. Oh, that was only one. Was it an inconsistent amount? No, I just must have had one. Okay, I'm a dummy. Nice. Never punished. Are we... What's... Next cycle it'll be repaired. So that's something. Not that we can do much with that. Sleeper. Cadet drifts into the shadows from outside Bliss's Bay, looking around nervously as she approaches. She's not going to need to call in that favor. Her face is pale and deathly serious. Are you okay? She doesn't seem to hear you, distracted by a group of spacers gliding noisily down the passage behind her. She waits until they pass. Someone hits stripline. No idea where Kamal is. A bunch of goons tearing the place apart as we speak. She screws her face again. Even tried to grab me, but those muscleheads are slow. Who would attack a courier? No idea. These were typical rent-a-thugs. Could have been anyone with chits to burn. Remember that package I asked for your help with? The one that was bothering me? Remember you mentioning it? I reckon it's got something to do with it. The job was a bust, an express run all the way to the underhang. When I got there, no one was home. She's whispering now, leaning closer. Place was smashed up, like someone got there first. Should have dumped the package and run, but I brought it back like a good girl. Stashed it in a safe spot in stripline. Thought the sender might come to recover it. When they didn't, well, I got curious, popped it open. Stupid thing to do. Inside was a drive encrypted to hell and back. When I ran into you, well, I heard sleepers are good with data, with tech, so I thought you might be able to take a look at it. She shrugs. Now Stripline's stressed too. Here's the thing. Back when I popped it open, I noticed the drive had a dispatch marker, Hexport. Be connected to Hexport getting atomized? Yeah, that's where I'm at too. This thing was sent out from there just as it got cooked. She pauses. With the kind of attention I've been getting the past couple cycles, she slips a hand terminal from her bag, taps a couple times, then holds it up to you. Cadet stares out at you from the screen. Beside her picture you see, in block capitals, Spindlejack, KD-754, a breach of FAR Spindle Codes B12 F-34. Reward for information leading to capture. Considered dangerous. It gets blasted out on the transit channels. Every Spindlejack hauler and freight carrier is going to be watching for me. She pulls the hand terminal back angrily, stuffing it away in her bag. Something's going on. Someone who can help? She looks away. Spindlejacks don't make friends easily, and now all the couriers I do know are looking to turn me in for a payout. She snaps her head to the side, her eyes flashing with anger. Why do you think I'm here? It's time for my favor, Sleeper. She meets your eye. My connections are burned. Hell, my whole career is gone. I need to fight back. If I walk away, there's nothing to walk away to. I need your help. What can I do? I need you to get the drive. She takes a breath. If they want it that much, then I can use it to buy my way out of this shit show. And I tucked it away somewhere safe, so my guess is they haven't got it yet. You just slip in. I'll give you the location and pull the thing out. It should be simple. None of this is simple. Just snatch it and go. Don't overthink it. So far, it's as fun as the first game. I think it's interesting. It's what I'd say is, the day-to-day stuff so far seems like chiller. Your body is not draining of condition in the same way, although the results are more devastating. But then you go out onto contracts, and these contracts seem wildly damaging. The drive is in the workshop. There's a loose panel behind the air bike rack. She leans in. It's taped to the back of the fuse box inside. I have to keep heading down Spindle to the overhang, past the transit tunnels. No one will rat me out there. She glances around. Come find you when it's done. Still got network access. I'll know when you go in. She winks, offering no further explanation. My bike's locked up nearby. I'm gonna hop. Do me this favor, then we're clear. Stay safe. Doing my best, Sleeper. She gives you a mock salute. She slips back into the shadows, and a few moments later, you hear the percussive pulse of an air bike accelerating away. You know at least what it's like to be on the run, to flee for your life. And in that, you feel an empathy, a connection with Cadet. But from every other angle, this thing looks like bad news, the kind of sensible person would steer well clear from. And perhaps you would steer well clear if it wasn't for one detail that stuck in your mind. The drive is from Hexport. Is all that enough to send you down to Stripline and search that drive? Only time will tell. As you drift lazily down the ship's mess, you hear raised voices. You steel yourself for a moment at the entrance, then slip inside. Seraphon sits, hooked into his usual stool, his slate glowing beside him. He's shaking his head as you enter. Bliss, meanwhile, is floating freely, gesticulating sharply as they explain something important. I don't see why not. It's not like you have an alternative. We can get the cryo. It'll take time, but we can get it. That was the deal. Seraphon speaks calmly, trying to placate Bliss. Sleeper. Let's see what Sleeper thinks about it. About what? They both fall silent for a moment. Seraphon sighs. Rig's ready, Sleeper. I fixed it. Hell, I've improved it. She's purring thanks to me. Now, wouldn't you say, having done such an incredible job, that I deserve to be paid properly for my work? Calculated look crosses their face. A refit and retune like this would typically cost my clients hundreds of cryo, even if I was feeling charitable. Seraphon sighs loudly. He knows where this is going. See, I could make you pay, and maybe you could even scrape the cryo up, but not without taking a contract and taking this ship off station, leaving me in a lurch. We wouldn't do that. Seraphon starts, but Bliss holds up a hand to shush him. So I have a proposition, one that clears the debt completely. I will turn around and open the sign on this little bay of mine and join up with you. Keep me in work, give me my split, and give me transit to wherever you're headed. Let me keep this 3 years working for free. It could be better than that. Us paying and being on our way with no hangers on. Tell them, Sleeper. Actually, we could use their help. See, Sleeper gets it. You can use my help. I'm an excellent engineer, a tidy shipmate, and a half-decent chef. Done with the FAR Spindle. I'm done taking not enough jobs for not enough cryo on a station where I know nobody. You're welcome. Look, we appreciate it, but we are on the run, Bliss. Trust me, you're better off here. He gives them a serious look. Even telling you this could put you in danger. Bliss pauses, then they start laughing. On the run? Expect me to be scared off by that goofy shit? It's true. The system is at war. The belt is just spiraling into crisis. Everybody's got something. I know you were at Hexport. Seraphim looks at them open-mouthed, searching for a retort. What happened there? Who's to say it won't happen here? I'm sitting around watching all this play out any longer. Something has to give. Bliss turns to Seraphim. Look, done your due diligence or whatever. You're on the run. I've been warned. I accept the risk. That's it. At the end of the day, your ship is clamped into my bay, so unless you know my encryption protocols, there's not much left to discuss. Seraphim shakes his head, small smile crossing his face. They've got us there. He looks at you, and then Bliss. Looks like we've gained a crewmate. He unhooks from his stool. But I'm moving to the engine room. He drifts off towards the bunk to gather his things. He and Bliss exchange a nervous look. Sleeper. Welcome aboard. Bliss smiles and gives you a half-hearted mock salute. You leave Bliss in the galley and head for the cockpit. The rig is ready to fly again. The question is, where to take her next? Seraphim mentioned Flotsam, a short starward journey from here. As busy as station where you might find an officer to help diagnose your glitches and errors. Onward, meanwhile, is the Hellion Gate. Abandoned and uninhabited megastructure left over from the Solheim days. Maybe good for salvage, but not an easy place to survive. Beyond that, well, as they say, the belt is wide. At least now you have a functioning ship. You've unlocked the belt map. Go to the map and press the belt button to travel between hubs and discover new parts of the Starward Belt. Belt. Whoa. Whoa. As nav required. Ah. Dark side. Irradiated zone. Oh, right. This was probably where I see the scatter, the wash. Green belt. Hollow. Oh, we're gonna need so much fuel. Are you kidding? Oh, we can take 10 now. So that's something. Okay. Before we do that, I've sort of have invested a lot into this. Also, it's getting late. But also, I've invested a lot into this, so let's... Okay. That's annoying. Come on, we can get 2 neutral outcomes out of this, right? We can get 2 neutral outcomes out of this, right? We can get 2 neutral outcomes out of this, right? Firing. Yeah, I'll go eat. And by that, I mean I'll get racked. Far Spindle is an exhausting place to find freelancers. There's no shortage of spacers here. The corridors and bays throng with crew inbound and outbound. On or between contracts, trading stories, contacts, and materials. Whatever language, appearance, or code identifies someone as worth signing on with, you don't seem to have it. Perhaps it's because of your new face, or noticeably unsure, or perhaps it's because you were a sleeper. You push the thought to the back of your mind and instead focus on what's in front of you, the vast cylindrical take, the center of Gaia's Gyre. First time you entered the bar, you floated open-mouthed, much like all the new arrivals do, at the sight of the huge kelp stack, the biggest you've ever seen. Even now, your eyes fix on the fronds of seaweed that wave in the circulating water, beyond the curve of the dirty glass. You find it impressive. You take a sip of the harsh, saline-scented rack from its magnetic vessel, secured to the bar. As you suck on the straw, your eyes follow the shifting fronds. You hear someone clearing their throat beside you at the bar. Hypnotic, isn't it? Eugen. The voice is low and rumbling and comes to you from a large figure on the stool next to you. Fluorescent lights behind the bar glint in his eyes, shining up onto his wide, rough face. I heard talk you're hiring. The figure turns his face to you. You don't recognize him. The shifting like... That's right. Today is your lucky day, my friend. String the magnetic bar with a swift clink. Eugen, currently freelance. He turns on his stool and leans back a little. The effect is clearly meant to impress you on his size, and you have to admit it works. Served a whole slate of crews out of the spindle. Cutters, mercs, extractors. Broad skill set, good work ethic, sense of humor. The full package. Humble, too. I like you already. We're gonna get on. I'll run anything out of the Far Spindle. I'm tough and quiet, and you won't need to worry about me. What kind of work are we talking about? Or you can answer. A voice echoes out from behind you. Eugen! Busy as ever, I see. Vesna. Look at you. A group of 3 spacers drift up behind you, one of them placing a heavy hand on your shoulder. She's fitted with a matte metal optical implants, and you cannot see her eyes. Caustic light from the tank plays across her face. Too busy to keep in touch, she shies. I really don't like when I have to come and find you. Vesna? Eugen nods politely. Do I look like I'm socializing? This is a meeting. Oh, a meeting. Is that what this is? Yes, Vesna, we're talking about your delivery, in fact. My friend here is being very helpful. Shoots you a knowing glance. That's right. Vesna turns with you with a raised eyebrow. Before you can speak, Eugen cuts in. Sleeper has a unique ability to extract data, exactly the kind of data you've been asking for. So if we just get back to it, Eugen gestures to you, then I can deliver what you need. You know, Eugen, I'm pretty tired of this whole act. She gestures dismissively at him. But in the end, it doesn't matter. Eyes follow down. You see a dark boxy shape there. A weapon? You either deliver by the deadline or you don't. And when you don't, she smiles, I'll be happy to take you through the consequences. Until then, she shoots the final glance. Chat to whoever the hell you want. As then the two spacers flanking her glide out of the bar. Eugen watches them go with little emotion. So, you were about to hire me? What was that? That's not. She's trying to rush me, that's all. I won't be working with her again. Of course, I can't talk about the particulars, you understand. Vesna just wants to scare you off. She likes to cause me trouble. Let's not let her. For a moment, looking away. You try to get ahead of him, but his face is blank. Only his glittering eyes shut out some rapid internal activity. Turns his back to you and meets your eye. A sudden shift in his manner obvious. If you need crew, you need to work. You need to work, you need cryo, is that right? Well, I can offer both. Hard work and a good contract with a good payout. If you take me on, this job's mine and we split the take. Hell, if you do, I'll consider signing on long term. Think of that. No more recruiting. What's the job? Salvage. Know of a wreck untouched by local crews, which recently turned up in the wash. It's just a little sunward from here, but its disabled transponder makes it invisible to anyone who doesn't know it's there. I had to squeeze the location out of a contact, but I'll share it with you for a straight split. Take me and your crew and we'll claim it all. It's going to be a good payout. A really good one. What's the catch? No catch. Happy to take the offer elsewhere. Just felt like you were the right captain for this one. I'll be ready to go whenever you like. Show of good faith, I'll also fly out with you on any job from Far Spindle. But I'm not leaving the station with you yet. Not until my job's done first. After that, we can talk flying together. No need to rush into it. See if Vesna's nearby. You don't spot her among the crews, but you can't help but match. Shake it off, having become familiar with the feeling of being observed. What matters is that you found yourself a crew member and a contract. Whether either will come good, however, remains to be seen. Nice. That's 4 points. I can do one of these. I can either become the best engineer in the fucking world, which seems tempting, or make one of my other skills a little less trash. Become the best engineer in the goddamn world. Be really good at that one thing. And buy some kelp cakes. Nice. Okay. Come on. Just... Okay. Well, we can almost certainly get it. I should really go to bed, but maybe just one more cycle. Okay, that's my per cycle energy. All right, so first off, we fix this. Nice. You watch from the docking bay's viewing window as the crumpled vast hull of Springtime is finally welded shut by a score of bright torches flickering against its side. Everywhere I look, I see a crisis. The voice comes from beside you. You turn to see a man floating there, watching the repair work. You don't recognize him. I saw you out there helping the crew. He turns to you with a serious look. Our spindle needs that water. You aren't wrong. I haven't seen you on the spindle before. What, if I may ask? Is your business here? I'm running a crew. He nods. I see. Springtide is my ship. His face remains impassive. At least, I am her captain. I do not own her. The Lodic Syndicate, my employer, was the one who put her into service. Glad to meet you. He bows his head gently. You have my thanks for assisting with the repairs. We were caught by some autonomous Conway munitions. He looks out at his ship. The Wellspring run is getting more dangerous every cycle. After Hexport, I do not expect things to improve. You both quiet for a moment. The loss of the station still inspiring silence in anyone who mentions it. Tell me, as a sleeper, do you feel you have advantages over others, or does your particular condition provide only weaknesses? Advantages, of course. Certainly you show this with your work on the Springtide. He gestures towards the Springtide. Your work on my ship only evidences your abilities. You far outperformed even my own crew. He looks at you, angling his head in deference, in conditions that are usually deadly. Sadly, despite even your good work, our losses have been great. The administration of the Far Spindler are not happy. We are to be impounded here until the Lodex Syndicate fulfills the agreed water freight. This war continues to pressure the belt. What will you do? This is where you're needed, Sleeper. My crew tells me that you have a ship. You have workers. This is what I need. As we fled from the Conway attack, our navigator registered something of great interest, a water-rich asteroid, one I believe is previously unknown to the syndicates. For now, I have sworn him to secrecy, as I must you. But if this asteroid could be surveyed, its value confirmed, it would more than make up for the shortfall of Springtide. Pauses thoughtfully. How does this involve me? Patience, Sleeper, I'm coming to that. I want you to survey the asteroid for me. It's a simple enough job, but its location so close to the edge of the wash is problematic. However, you've shown yourself to be very confident. If you're careful, there's no reason you should have problems with Conway, or any other hostile party for that matter. And what do I get? I will, of course, reimburse you with a portion of the fee the Far Spindle administration are withholding from me. 250 cryo is my offer. How will your employer feel about that? Look System only cares that the water is delivered and its fees pays. I'm free to make sure that this happens in a timely and efficient manner, as I see fit. Malik passes you a thumbnail drive. Here are the details on the tests I need you to run for the survey. A sample core of ice from deep within the asteroid should give you enough material to work with. You notice a member of the Springtide's crew waiting quietly at a distance, and Malik nods to them discreetly. This is a delicate matter, Sleeper. Survey their rock, and on your return, broadcast the results to my personal terminal. The frequency is in that data. The results go to me, only to me. Then, once the matter is resolved, you will be paid. I am needed, he nodded to the crew members, but I expect you have all you need. I have enjoyed watching you work, Sleeper. Impress me again. With that, he bows a little and drifts away to meet his crew member. After watching him go, you turn your back to Springtide, still impressive despite being scarred with curls of ice and shiny, fresh welds. You imagine any captain of a ship like that has been through a lot to get where they are. That makes them a valuable ally, or a dangerous adversary, depending on where you are. You hope with Malik you can find on your way to being the former. Nice. On tracks. Hidden wreck. 250 cryo. Payment. Huh? Both are risky. I'm getting the distinct impression that there will not be milk runs on this here experience. I didn't fully explore, I guess. Okay. We have this going on. Okay, but it is where I typically stop stream. And this is probably as good a place as I am going to get to stop. So I'm going to go ahead and raid on out, because it is getting late. I hope people have enjoyed watching this. It's good to have a chance to take a crack at this game. I'm liking the contract system. It's an interesting way to add some danger and make the things that could be routine in the last game feel less routine. I don't know if that will continue to be true, but it's certainly interesting in the moment. Either way, enjoying it so far, and we're going to raid on out. Oh, Ompico's playing Kentucky Route Zero. That feels like a good follow-in, so I'm gonna do that. So thank y'all for coming out, and I hope you all had fun, and I will see you all next time.